Hello everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I am discussing two completely different categories of books. The first one will be all the books that I DNF'd in 2023, and the second category is all the books I gave 5 stars in 2023. So we're gonna have a kind of roller coaster of emotions and show you books that I did not like and books that I really loved. I decided to add these two categories into one video because I'm really just gonna go through and list the books. I'm not going to go into all of my thoughts and feelings because there are a ton of books. However, I felt like if I just sat here and listed them, it would be like a 1-minute long video, so I decided to give you some highs and lows of the year in one complete video. So let's start with the 20 books that I DNF'd in 2023. The first book I DNF'd was The Plot by Jean Hanff Korelitz. I DNF'd this book at 33%, and this is an adult mystery. The Trapped Wife by Samantha Hayes is an adult thriller that I DNF'd at 34%. The Quiet Girl by S.F. Kosa is an adult mystery that I DNF'd on page 100, which was 25% of the way through the book. Next was Together Apart, which was an anthology YA romance collection edited by Aaron A. Craig, and I DNF'd this book on page 44. Iron Widow by Jiren-J Zhao is a young adult fantasy book that I DNF'd on 20%, and this book made me realize that I no longer like fantasy. Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin is an adult horror book that I DNF'd at 9%. The next book I DNF'd was Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is a young adult fantasy, and I DNF'd this book on page 44. However, I could be convinced to pick up this book again because I want to read all of Jennifer L. Armentrout's books. Next was Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is an adult romance, and I DNF'd this book on page 193, which was 50% of the way through, and I wasted so much time on this book. Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by April Genevieve Tchok is a young adult fantasy that I DNF'd on page 133, which was 35% of the way through. What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall is an adult thriller that I was really looking forward to, but I DNF'd this book on page 109. The Last Ever After by Soman Chanani is a third book in a middle grade fantasy series that I was really loving, but this one did not work for me, and I DNF'd it on page 152. Blood Countess by Lana Popovich is a young adult horror that I DNF'd on page 44 because of the writing. The Program by Suzanne Young is a young adult dystopian that was actually a reread for me, and I had loved it previously, and the reread unfortunately just didn't work for me, so I DNF'd it at 54%. This one's gonna ruffle some feathers or ruffle some dragon scales, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This is a young adult, new adult fantasy that I DNF'd at 50%. If I had kept going, this would have made my worst books of 2023 list. This was incredibly boring. I don't get it. Vamps by Nicole Arndt is an adult fantasy book that I DNF'd on page 64. Exiles by Jane Harper is an adult mystery book that I was really enjoying the series. This one just did not work for me, and I DNF'd it on page 76, which was 22% of the way through. The next book I DNF'd was another sequel that I was really disappointed with, and that is The Wicked Remain by Laura Pohl. This is a young adult mystery, and I DNF'd this book on page 128. Next, unfortunately, was The Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas, and I DNF'd this book at page 15, so I wasn't far in, but I'm still counting it. The next book I DNF'd was The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. I DNF'd this book on page 146. I was really hoping it would be the zombie book for me, but it wasn't. And the last book I DNF'd in 2023 was The Match Made in Venice by Leonie Mack. This is an adult romance, and I DNF'd this book on page 111. Moving on to my 5-star reads of 2023, once again I'm just going to list these, and there are 58 of them. Now there are quite a few rereads on this list, so I will tell you those when I get to them, but the first book I gave 5 stars in 2023 was Layla and the Blue Fox by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. Find Me by Anne Fraser. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, which was a reread. Tell Me by Anne Fraser. Lost in the Moment and Found by Seanan McGuire. Divergent by Veronica Roth and Insurgent by Veronica Roth. Both of these were rereads. Rebel by Marie Lu. Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins, which of course was a reread. Love from Scratch by Caitlin Hill. 4 by Veronica Roth, which was a reread. The Island by Adrienne McKenty. The Long Walk by Stephen King. Remember Me Gone by Stacey Stokes. Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This was a reread for me. Run to Overcome by Meb Gafleski. Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which was a reread. The Kinder Poison by Natalie May and The Cruelest Mercy by Natalie May. These were both rereads for me. All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which was a reread. The Sweetest Betrayal by Natalie May. Where Darkness Blooms by Andrea Hanna. Scarlet, Cress, and Winter, all by Marissa Meyer, and all three of these were rereads for me. King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This was a reread for me. The Umbrella Maker's Son by Katrina Leno. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, my #1 read of the year. Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Jillian McAllister. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This was a reread for me. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. The Lightning Thief and The Sea of Monsters, both by Rick Riordan. These were both rereads for me. The Duchess Deal and The Governess Game by Tessa Dare. The Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan, which of course was a reread. The Call by Peter O'Gillen. Blindsided by Karen Slaughter. The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. The Dry by Jane Harper. The Grimrose Girls by Laura Pohl. Best of Luck by Jason Mott. The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, which was a reread. Graveyard of Lost Children by Katrina Monroe. The Son of Neptune and The Mark of Athena, both by Rick Riordan, which of course were both rereads for me. Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, once again was a reread for me. I Loved You in Another Life by David Arnold. Not Here to Stay Friends by Caitlin Hill. The House of Hades by Rick Riordan, you guessed it, this was a reread. Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. Another reread, The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. And my last 5-star book of 2023 was Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. So those are all the books that I both DNF'd and gave 5 stars to in 2023. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on any of these books, whether you also DNF them, whether you love them, or whether I should try some of these books again. But that is it for this video. If you have made it this far, go ahead and leave the fire emoji. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!